Here we are in Boothill Graveyard in historic Tombstone, Arizona, the final resting place of the Wild West's most legendary cowboys and Indians and outlaws. We've got the McLaurys, the Claibornes, Dutch Annie. There is a bunch buried here in this cemetery. It was established in 1879 and finally closed in 1884 because it was full. Now, this guy was shot in 1882, Glenn Will in 1871. Now, the camera action's a little fast here because I wasn't used to recording, and I'm still looking for rattlesnakes and everything going on. But I take a quick glance as much as I can, keeping an eye on the ground. There's George Whitaker. All this trees and cacti, they're blooming at this time of year. There's Jay Gardner, 1882, shot. Here we are looking at some of the newer graves here in this cemetery. A lot of these guys died with their boots on. That's why it's called Boothill. There's Emmett Cook. And there's this cemetery is done in different kind of rows and plots, and the museum is right there. You just go in, minimal fee, I think, of $3 for a pamphlet, and you get to see where everything's at. And there she is, Gypsy Lynn. Now, we did experience one little possible paranormal thing here with the grave with Dutch Annie. Now, she was a prostitute back in the Old West, and she was considered a queen of the red light district. So, very interesting what we saw, and I had to slow it down, and that's something that's going to be on a future video. Now, I'm going through this, so I'm looking for some graves in particular before I leave here, because we at the tail end of leaving Tombstone, we barely found this place. I missed it on the way up, and so I gotta get this before we leave. This is probably the most famous graves in this cemetery because these men died at the OK Corral. Tom McLaury and the Clantons, and there's old man Clanton right there. And then there's some graves in front here. Not a busy place. A lot of unknowns. Like I said, very paranoid about rattlesnakes, though. So everything was kind of quick. This is my first trip out to the desert, so I didn't know what to expect. You know, when I look up videos on YouTube before, I'm always typing in the destination rattlesnake, seeing if how paranoid I need to be. Just think, old man Clanton was just killed shortly before the OK Corral on October 26th. And here we go. Look at that view. Tombstone, Arizona. Now this is, you know, if you're not familiar where Tombstone is, it's almost it's probably about 20 miles north of Mexico. So, you know, you gotta watch out. I believe they got 17 different kinds of rattlesnakes out there. They got bark scorpions, Arizona bark scorpions, which is very deadly. And there's 11 months of babies buried out there. This is a cemetery that everybody used. I mean, it wasn't just an outlaw cemetery, or, you know, there's regular people that just died in that era right here. And there's some other famous tombstones that you may have heard of, like Lester Moore. There's Seymour Dye. He was killed by Indians, 1882. Here it is. Here lies George Johnson, hanged by mistake, 1882. He was right, we was wrong, but we strung him up, and now he's gone. Well, that was a big mistake. John Gillespie, 1882. And here's Simon Constantine. Now here's Dutch Annie. Now what I'm doing, I call over for my wife. I say, Annie, Annie. And there was a flash going right through it. I had to slow it down. I thought maybe at first it was a insect or a moth or miller or something, but yeah, you can choose for yourself. Three-fingered Jack Dunlop. A lot of funny names I gave people back then. I bet you he had his finger shot off, or dynamite from the mines blew his fingers off. But this is Boothill Cemetery.